Um, if we can all agree that meditation should be a daily habit, what stops us from making it a daily habit?
Pressures of life.
How?
Other things pop up and distract us.
So why does that put meditation on the back burner?
It seems to be an immediate need. I was telling my friend here, I took a nap on Friday. I woke up from the nap and my vision in one eye was
Blurry, I overheard. Yeah.
So off to the emergency room, many hours, everything else.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the emergency room, as I lay there on my bed, I saw this beautiful blue glass wall, and so I was doing mindfulness stuff. So that was a good thing.
Anybody else?
I saw your post yesterday because you posted it.
Yeah.
It made me question it. And I think for me...
Why didn't you comment?
Oh, I must have been distracted. I'll comment.
There we go. Engagement. Come on, I need to feed my
Sorry.
social media.
You did ask for engagement.
Yes.
I think for me, I think it was good to see you in that post actually and where you did it, because I'm always like, where am I supposed to do it? And like, I just feel like it's as much finding the time as making sure you're warm enough, dressed properly, in the right space. Like do you know what I mean? Like, it just, the setup to me just sometimes becomes a bit.
So even to like, would you be able to in this room, just in this room, would you be able to meditate as you do if you were to be forced to be sat over there? Because every single week you come here. Would it throw you off to be like, go meditate over there? Probably. Probably, right? Because you've set up a ritual 100%. That you're going to come into this room and you're going to find this comfortable seat because that's the comfortable seat that works for you. And if somebody were to be there when you're already here, it would throw off the whole hour for you. See you next week.
I like the word ritual because I get into my head that it's ritualistic versus just like you can pretty much meditate anywhere. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit like what you said, because I've got like a yoga room in the house, with special lighting. But I never, it seems like I'll have to go down there. I have to get like it's just.
It's like having a gym in the basement. You know how you never work out, even though the gym is in the basement. It's the same idea for me, right? Like it's like you can. The weights are there. I should probably do it, but somehow. But you're right. Like your post did make me think about it. I was like, I really just need to set up like a little basket next to my bed and do it where you do it, and just make it easy.
So, speaking of like rituals, daily rituals, whatever it is, let me see if I can like connect the dots or to try to make a little bit of a leap. Knowing, I guess in this example, like say you know that the basement's downstairs, it has all your workout stuff, and it would be good for you to work out on a daily basis. Doesn't matter if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. Why is it that you're able to brush your teeth every day?
Listen, I say this to my husband all the time about things he doesn't get to. I totally see. I actually use you brush your teeth, don't you?
Yeah.
So I get it, but I think it's routine. I have a structure, and I think I've been too lazy to open up that structure and insert it in. But you're right. 100%. You're shaming me.
I don't. I'm not trying to shame you.
Now, if we knew you would torture us the way the dentist does if we don't brush our teeth, that might be a bit.
I think a big part is like here we're accountable to one another, and we've created like a sacred space. In this room for the hour that we're here, very little distractions to work with. We're amongst one another. We're all here for whatever our own personal reasons are, but there's a shared energy amongst us. So here the energy is a bit different. That promotes mindfulness, that promotes you to meditate. And in relation to everywhere else in your weekly life, this is perfect for meditation. This 1 hour that you're here, it's imperfectly perfect. Doesn't matter if the meditation itself is challenging or not. We've created an environment in which we can meditate. And yes, the accountability is there because you've paid for it. So there's a part of you that is financially obligated to be here, but we don't have to discuss that in too much detail. But it's also, I guess, understanding, yes, the whole ritual side of things of maybe having a whole process of getting yourself ready to meditate. But it's also coming to an understanding that there's no such thing as a perfect meditation. That meditation is expected to be imperfectly perfect. It's asking you to work with all of the baggage that you got going on. So it doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if you're busy. What ends up happening is, say we are accustomed to meditating for 15 minutes, 20 minutes at a time. And then you feel a time crunch for whatever the reason may be, and you only have 5 minutes or 10 minutes. There's that little thought that pops up. It's like, well, this meditation's not going to be good. I only have 5 minutes and I need 15. You don't need it. It'd be nice to have it, but you can still create an experience that is worth having within 5 minutes. And the excuses are, they can be given so much fuel and given so much power so fast. I usually say it's as easy to say yes to something as it is to say no. It just depends which of the two you've given more power to in your life. Is it to the power of no or to the power of yes? And sometimes it's a real hard juggling act to say yes when you really want to say no, or to say no when you really want to say yes. Could just be that, it's your mannerisms. You're a people pleaser, so you're so used to saying yes when internally you know that it's not sustainable for you to keep saying yes. Or maybe for whatever reason, saying no has been your default because you're maybe apprehensive or tense, resistant to something, when internally there's a part of you that's like, just say yes. And meditation, given its nature of, being that we're busy people from the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep, it feels so counterproductive to think that you're going to do something productive by doing nothing, right? It's such a weird thing to wrap your head around of, I am so busy, how is this going to make me feel better to just do nothing for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? There's this book I'm reading, I don't have it on me, it's in my car. It's a very old book, but there's plenty of translations. It's called The Miracle of Mindfulness by a Zen Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, Thich space Nhat space Hann. But he says there's 2 ways to wash the dishes. One is that you are cleaning the dishes. You are washing the dishes to clean the dishes. And 2, you're washing the dishes to wash the dishes. So there's a very subtle differentiation in the words. And the way that he says it is, say that you go to the sink and there's a sink full of dishes. The person that is there to clean the dishes is not mindful of the experience. As they're cleaning the first dish, they're already got their eyes on the second dish. There's no connection to the water. There's no connection to the hand scrubbing the dish. They're just trying to get the experience done with as fast as possible. So in essence, they're throwing an unnecessary stressor into the experience by being unpresent or being disconnected to the experience. Or there's the person who's washing the dishes to wash the dishes. That their mind is just fully there doing the dishes. That they can feel the hand holding on to the sponge. They can feel their hands holding on to the dishes. They can feel the experience of rubbing on the plate, of cleaning the plate. They can hear the water as it's being poured. They're fully immersed in the experience of washing the dishes. And that little example there of doing the thing for doing the thing or doing the thing to get it done. Lately, one of my meditations that I try to do is to drive the car to drive the car. I'm going to get where I'm going to get to whenever I get there. And I've taken probably the same path to get where I'm going to time and time again. So when it comes to my weekly schedule, I'm driving here on Tuesdays, I'm driving elsewhere on a Monday, on a Wednesday. And I'm not shaming anyone for listening to the radio, for listening to music, to podcasts, because the car just happens to be a great place for that. I probably listen to the most amount of music in my car. It is loud as hell, and I just love it. But lately, a couple of times a week, I won't do it all the time, but just silence. No radio, no nothing, no Android Auto, no Google Maps needed, because I know where I'm going and I'm going to get there when I get there. And I try my best to even do it in a way where I'm not even going to change my lane. I'm just going to go into the lane, and whatever is in front of me is in front of me. I'm not going to get irritated by the driver that's driving too slow. I'm not going to get irritated by the driver that's riding my ass. I'm just going to drive. Drive at the speed limit, maybe a little bit over, a little bit under, but just drive to drive. Eyes are on the road. Body is just mindful with the experience of driving. Checking my mirrors. I don't need to check the radio. I don't need to check what time it is. I don't need to worry about when I'm going to get there. I know where I'm going. I've been there dozens of times, hundreds of times. I'm just driving to drive. And I think that's made the experience of driving such a mindful experience, to actually be present with the sound that the car makes. Because when my music is so loud, I don't hear it until I do hear it. I'm like, oh my God, is my car okay? Or to just, enjoy the weather for what it is. Because you're driving and you're a bit more mindful, maybe you notice a cloud in the sky that you wouldn't have noticed, or you just feel the sunlight against your skin that you may not have tuned into. To just, notice if you're gripping onto the steering wheel with like a death grip, or if you're just like actually just working with the wheel as you're driving. And I think like these kind of experiences that we throw filters on, it's not intentional, it's just to create a bit more enjoyment, to pass the time. But to understand, I think like driving is a very anxiety-inducing experience, especially, our brain isn't designed to handle moving at that fast of a speed. So we take it for granted how much stimulation there is when it comes to driving. And then to add into the mindfulness experience of driving for me, it is being fully present with breath. Breathing in and out mindfully as I'm driving. And you will notice, if you try it, that there will be constant times where the breath is like disappearing. Whether it's just that, you're aware of other people driving as well, and you're like, got to be aware everywhere, right? So it's this balance of being aware, but not hyper aware, and ability to remain grounded despite all of that. And the highway driving is the most evident of that experience. Of seeing other people, you're driving in just the one lane, so it works best to just drive in the right lane. Because driving in the middle lane, it's like everybody is going all around you. So drive in the right lane, drive at 100, whatever it is, 105 that you want to do. And that way it's one less stressor to deal with. Or go for just a leisurely drive around the neighborhood. Don't drive to go anywhere, just drive to drive around. And so that way even less stress gets applied. Could be a 10-minute drive, could be 15-minute, could be 20-minute, could be however long you want it to be. But it's just to transform a literal vehicle into a vehicle for mindfulness. And that same kind of application can be done for the body as well. To just walk, to go for a walk. Same thing that we always do, yeah.
I was going to say, since I started this class, I have, because I walk to this class.
Yeah.
And I naturally put in my headphones. I think I'm going to listen to something, but then I don't. I actually just enjoy the quiet. And I stop wearing sunglasses. I know that's not great for your eyes, but...
No, it's great for your eyes as far as I know.
But,
I mean, are you staring at the sun?
No.
Then you're fine.
Feeling, just letting the sun pierce my eyes.
Yeah.
Not having music on, because I used to listen to music too. And it's just learning to be more present. But that is a change. So while I'm not meditating regularly, I have learned through this class to be more present. It's just to immerse myself in my surroundings. Because I put in those headphones, but then I just don't want to I don't want to hit Spotify. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to take in the moment and I enjoy the walk.
And it's like to not, it's not to shame anybody that does these things, right? It's music is something you enjoy, so it makes the walk a more enjoyable experience. I always you go to the gym and you just see everybody on headphones. And then for some reason, everybody's on headphones, but there's always loud music playing. So, but it's that same kind of thing of the music is there to pump you up and to, give you a good workout. But then what are you going to do if there's no music? Like, can you just not work out? Can you?
I was going back to the example that you were driving. So yesterday I was driving back from Kingston and my daughter needed her flight changed. I remember my uncle saying, you can meditate anywhere, including in the car. And I couldn't turn on the radio, I couldn't turn on a podcast, I couldn't call anyone because it was elevator music just on repeat. I found myself getting more and more annoyed because we were well past the half an hour point. And actually, it was on hold for an hour 20. But anyway.
Oh man.
So I said to myself, I'm gonna try meditating, and I just like focused on my breath, and I looked at the clouds, and actually, it just helped. Like by the time they came on, normally I'd be like, I can't believe it, and I was just like, oh hi. So it really helped a lot. It wasn't like a great practice because I was like, I had to keep reminding myself, okay, come back to this, come back to this.
That is a great practice.
But I found my mind wandering and that kind of thing as people went around me.
Of course.
But to your point, like doing it in the car is different.
It's different, right? Yeah. Every single red light is an opportunity for you to take 3 mindful breaths. What Thich Nhat Hanh says is, before you answer a phone call, take 3 mindful breaths. So that when you answer the phone, you're going to speak with some loving awareness, some kindness, some compassion to the person who is on the other end. And just that energy shift within you can change the whole experience of the phone call. And it's just, you prepared yourself for an hour and 20 minutes by meditating, just having a clear mind. Because if you didn't meditate, there's a chance that when the person picked up the phone, that you're going to start the tone of the phone call with some anger, annoyance, whatever it is. Whereas the hope is you meditating or just being mindful for that hour and 20 minutes, it just allowed those darker thoughts to not penetrate your mind as much. How dare that person leave me on hold for an hour and 20 minutes? Like, how long are they going to take? I wish I was listening to music. I wish all this kind of stuff. And had you answered the phone call at that point with all of those thoughts, who knows how the phone call would have been. So it's a very unique experience to apply mindfulness to daily life. To just be a bit more immersed in present moment experience. That's what mindfulness is asking you to do. It's about being aware of what is happening right here, right now. But then the choice is yours whether you wish to make a change or not. So awareness is just one half of it, right? Like we are noticing what is happening. But then sometimes the hard part is making the deliberate change that if something is happening that is not conducive to your well-being, whether it's your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, mindfulness can only help by shining light onto it. What's required from that mindfulness is for you to grow the seed of wisdom of, this isn't going to benefit me long term, it's not sustainable, let's see if something different can be done. And sometimes what that different thing is that needs to be done. Sometimes it's just knowing enough that what is happening right now isn't good long term. So the answer may come to you later in time, but shining light is just a big thing that meditation and mindfulness look to do for you. These are good ways of applying the meditation practice, the mindfulness practice to daily life, of even connecting past surface level. Over the weekend, I went to a Japanese tea ceremony, which is a really unique experience. I do the Nav's coffee experience, but it's not like the Japanese tea ceremony, where the intention is so pure and so simple. To be able to cultivate peacefulness, tranquility, love, compassion, all these positive qualities into the act of making tea. Tea's not hard to make. Boil some water, throw in some herbs, mix up the matcha in this case, and there you go, it's served. And, the overall tea ceremony itself was maybe like a 20-minute process. We watched as she boiled the water, as she got all the utensils, and there's a lot of nuances in like the traditional side of things of, presenting everything in such a way that it honors the guest, it honors the person who is there to have the cup of tea with you. So it is like a very much of a mindful experience. But then you contrast that with like going through a drive-thru. Still get your tea, still get your matcha, still get all that. But there's such a disconnect between what you're drinking and how it was received versus sitting with the person who's making the cup of tea for you, watching the water boil, hearing the water boil, which is such a soothing sound as well, of hearing the whisking. In this case, we did have matcha. That is the ceremonial grade matcha for all these tea ceremonies. To hear the whisking of the matcha, to hear the swirling of the water, to just be present to the smell, the sound, the touch, the taste of everything that is happening. So Nav's coffee experience, coffee ceremony, I love coffee. I drink only 1 cup a day most days. But I got really fed up with, going to different places and just getting let down by coffee. So I do my best I go to, in downtown Oakville, there's the Fly Spin studio, it's called. It's like top floor is a cycling studio, but bottom floor is just a little cafe. And the lady there is super nice. Her name's Giselle. So if you're ever interested, go say hi. She makes good coffee. But over the last couple of years, I've just taken the experience of making coffee and I've just been mindful with it. So I have one of those like gooseneck kettles. I have a perfectly good regular kettle that can just flick on the switch and it would heat, but I have the gooseneck kettle that I got to put on the stovetop. Instead of an electric grinder, I got a hand grinder. And I do a little bit of research when it comes to buying my beans, and a lot of my friends, they know that I like coffee, so if they're ever out and traveling into a different country, they'll bring back a bag of coffee for me. So it's really nice in that sense. But if you go to Tim Hortons or a drive-through or even a regular store, you'll probably get a cup of coffee given to you within 2 minutes. Let's just say that, even if it's going to be ground with espresso beans and all that. But me at home, measuring out the beans, measuring out the water, hand grinding the beans, waiting for the water to boil. And then I have a pour over, which takes a few more minutes there. A cup of coffee takes like 10 to 15 minutes to make. But it's a lot more of an enjoyable cup to drink afterwards because you've been so immersed in the experience. You can smell the beans a lot more. You can see the difference from raw bean to grinded bean to then coffee dripping out. And then, it's an enjoyable thing to have someone come over and making them a cup of coffee. So, it's the same thing that's, meals taste so good when they're made by someone. And it's because there's that, that intangible component of love that gets put into it. So the ultimate hope of like a mindfulness practice, we cannot discount how important it is to simply sit. That in itself is its own practice. Sitting, closing your eyes, just giving yourself that buffer, that space to create in which you can, clean the mirror of your daily life. We look out into the world and what we see is a projection of our mind. If you see heaven outside, you'll look for good things. But if everything in your life and in your mind is negative, bad, hell, then you're going to look for the worst when you go out there. You're just going to be apprehensive to everything. So if we can just clean our mind's eye, if we can scrub our mirrors so that they are a bit more clear, then the hope is that when we go out into the world, we are a bit more clear. So meditation is there for that practice. But our mindfulness practice, the ability to be present in daily life, is an extension of that meditation practice. And the more we can, contribute ourselves to meditating, the more we can extend the benefits of our meditation practice into these daily mindfulness practices. Whether it's just consistently going for walks outside in which we don't listen to music, in which we're just a bit more in tune. And it's not to say next time you go for a walk, you're not going to listen to music. Still welcome it. Finding joy is very hard to do, so creating moments of joy is very important to do. And music while you walk could be a very joyful experience for some of us, so do it. Don't do the things that promote joy, but just understand that sometimes it's okay to take a step back and you'll still be able to find joy. That you'll still be able to find joy in your walk whether you have music or not. We'll still be able to create joy in the car whether we're listening to the radio or not. That we can still have moments of joy or create experience of joy, even if the experience has to be delayed a little bit longer. Go to the drive-thru, coffee gets given to you in a minute, 2 minutes. Make coffee at home. My example, you're going to wait 15 minutes. Doesn't mean that during those 15 minutes, you're like, oh, come on, coffee, hurry up. Because that comes back to the same thing of, are you washing the dishes to wash the dishes, or are you washing the dishes to just clean the dishes? And I'm making the cup of coffee to make the cup of coffee. I will have the cup of coffee when I'm having it, but while I'm making it, I'm just there making the cup of coffee. being present with the grinding of the beans, being present to the water that's being boiled, being present to the beans, all that kind of stuff. So that's something I implore you to just see how you can apply mindfulness to your daily life. Simplest ways is to just see what you do on your daily basis and just see if there is some form of filter that gets put on it. Simple things that we do is we eat with distractions. TVs, radio, I don't know why I keep saying radio, so radio.
It's okay.
It's,
Some of us remember.
So those kind of filters, you eat when there's a filter on. You know, when we're talking or even listening, we might be multitasking. All of these things of multitasking, we claim to be good multitaskers, but it's impossible to be a good multitasker because you're not dedicating 100% of your energy to one thing. Have I done the experiment in this? No. Okay. Recite A through H. We did do this, right? We did this, not this time, but like previous, I think this was during the open house one, no?
No, I think it was like our first.
Was it?
Did we do the A, B? Oh,
Okay.
I was embarrassed
Okay.
myself, but sure, let's do it.
Yeah. Recite A through H.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
Recite 1 through 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Now alternate. A1, B2, C3, go.
Yeah. A1, B2, C3, D4, E5, F6.
But do we just see how it's getting slower, 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 slower? So at the surface, where the mind's most sharpest, alternating between alphabet and numerics relatively fast. But as we start to go down that line, the mind's starting to get further and further away from center. So it's taking a bit longer to switch from alphabet to numeric side of things. And that's kind of what happens with the mind as well when we're multitasking with anything. For the first few moments, we might be very sharp, so alternating between the two is relatively easy to do. But the longer we spend on it, it's just being drained on both sides. And so this is why single tasking is what we're trying to do with meditation. And single tasking is why we find meditation to be so hard. Because while we're single tasking on meditation, the mind is triple, quadruple, infinitely tasking on all sorts of thoughts and feelings. And it's just constantly coming back, coming to the present moment to bring that sense of mindfulness into your body, into your mind.